Hello and welcome to The Well. I'm your host, Dr. Brendan Arm, Doctor of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine, Chinese medicine herbalist, and founder-director of Lotus Integrative Medicine in Santa Monica, California. There's a wealth of health-related information out there, and I'm joined today by this wonderful group of integrative and holistic medical doctors and practitioners to share some of our favorite wellness tips. Please let me introduce you to Bianca Rodriguez, a holistic psychotherapist, Dr. Heath McAllister, a naturopathic doctor and registered herbalist, and Leona West, a clinical nutritionist and herbalist, also trained and certified in functional medicine. So let's begin. Today's topic is holotropic breathwork.
Woo-hoo!
Bianca, take it away. I want to hear you have to say.
I'm very excited about this. Okay, so I was introduced to holotropic breathwork probably about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I took a few classes, and I had such literally a mind-blowing spirit dancing experience that I had to get trained in it. I was like, I have to offer this to people. So I got trained in holotropic breathwork, and the universe, as always, provided. I had a friend that was a meditation teacher that was going to India for a few months, and he was teaching meditation in all of these different treatment centers, drug and alcohol, dual diagnosis treatment centers. And so being that I'm in that world, they said, can you come to teach holotropic breathwork? So over the course of maybe a year, because I covered for him, and then the word got out and everybody loved it so much they kept me. In the course of a year, you guys, I got to teach hundreds of people, and I started to do my own class. So it was like a doctorate in holotropic breathwork. And what I found, well, first, I guess I should describe what it is, and then we can talk about our experiences. So holotropic breathwork is a very specific type of breathing that can create an incredibly expansive healing experience. Now, as you guys know, when something works for me, I'm not that interested in the science of it. I'm just like, damn, some magic is happening here. So I'll let you guys cover the science. But basically, usually a holotropic breathwork session is 45 minutes to an hour. It's recommended that you do this special type of breathing that I'm going to demonstrate for 20 minutes. About 20, 25 minutes. There's a sweet spot. It's almost like when you're working out and like maybe you're going for a jog, and at first you're like, this sucks, I don't want to do this. And then you hit a stride. And then it's like, I always tell clients, the breath almost starts to breathe you, right? So there's some kind of magic that happens in this 20 to 25 minutes. And it's usually paired with amazing music, powerful music. And there's usually a person who's trained, who's, walking around kind of giving you guidance, making sure that you're doing the technique correctly, but also holding space for you, because it can become very emotional. There's something about this type of breath work that releases stored energy in the body, I believe, memories in the body, and is this incredible catalyst for change. Okay, so the breathing is, you guys want to do it real quick?
Yeah, count me in.
Okay. One hand on the belly, one hand on the chest is how I teach people. And you're going to breathe through your mouth. So most of us are not used to that. You're going to breathe through your mouth. And you want to take a deep breath in to your belly first. And the reason we put our hand on our belly is that you want to feel your diaphragm. I'm going to show you guys. You want to feel your diaphragm expand, right? Because you're filling it with air. So you take a deep breath into your belly first. And then you take a second breath into your chest. And then you let it all go through your mouth. Let's do it again. Belly, chest. Let it go through the mouth. Now that might seem easy, but you're doing that nonstop for 20 to 25 minutes.
Wow.
And so, right, it's kind of like a workout, right? For 20 to 25 minutes. And so what I have seen occur in people is a sense of euphoria, releasing of pain through weeping, coming up against themselves and their own resistance. Oh, Brendan's still going for it.
I'm still working on it. I can listen and practice, right? I'm totally, it's like a meditation. I'm listening to you.
He's in it.
Just do it. Just keep going. Yes, keep going. Yes, a deep release, visualizations. I've had people be spirit guides and people who've transitioned over to the other side. So I've had a lot of very powerful one. Afterwards, you usually feel a sense of deep relaxation and euphoria, which is incredible. But I used to do this when I needed clarity on a question that I had. I would be like, I got to do some breath work. So I want to hear what you guys have experienced when you've done breath work.
I mean, I think it's really grounding. Like I found it really grounding, centering. You're really tuning into the breath, which honestly, that's the kind of the essence of basic Buddhist meditation. You know, the simplest form of Buddhist meditation is called Anapana, where you're really focused on breath, and it's the gateway to what they call Vipassana, which is awareness meditation, where you're kind of scanning your body and you're just noticing. You're not thinking. You're not analyzing. You're just literally being aware. And to me, this is another gateway into awareness. I mean, it's really great. And the thing about it versus other forms of breath work is that you mentioned something before. I think we were talking before we were recording, but about how you can kind of hyperventilate. There's other forms of breath work like breath of fire, where you truly are going to hyperventilate, and that creates this big, very immediate expansiveness. And this one is kind of like a baby version of that, where you are getting more oxygenation, but I wouldn't maybe say that it's hyperventilation. The only other thing that I would say is that I think the beauty of breath work is that it can tap into what's called the autonomic nervous system of the body, which is, it's kind of like all the different functions in the body that are being run by your brain without thinking about them consciously. So like your blood pressure, your heart, but it's also other things like your level of stress. So when you do breath work, typically the effect is for balancing your autonomic nervous system. And most people are usually in a state that we call fight or flight, where you're just stressed. You're in acute stress and you're just kind of like subacute stress. You're always a little bit stressed about something, and then you can crash and burn. And by doing things like breath work, you can really help balance this nervous system back out to be in a state of calm. And that's why I felt like this was one of those gateways to going to that place of calm.
Yes, it's like it's a gateway drug to relaxation, calm,
Right.
and regulating the autonomic nervous system.
Totally.
Are you, Leona? What do you think?
Well, it's actually making me think about, so early before I started my practice, I was exploring a lot of different ways of serving the community and looking at women's health. And so I became certified as a doula, and I was a doula for many births, and got trained and certified in childbirth education, which is really centered around breath work. And it got me thinking about how early in labor, we usually like to, and what I also observed with my moms is that, these long, slow, deep breaths that were through the nose, but as labor picked up, more breath work through the mouth, transitioning to that and kind of faster breathe, more of this, like in this vein of holotropic, really served where they were at in the labor process. So it's really interesting. I just, with that experience and watching that journey of labor and how different breath work served these different areas, it just got me thinking about that.
That is so interesting because, yeah, I feel like there's something very deep in that, which I might not totally grasp in this moment, but just the idea of, breathing through the mouth as you do in holotropic breath work, and this sense of sort of, birthing something, because there's so much releasing. I feel like that this particular type of breath work facilitates, while also, I'm so glad you said it, because I tend to be more in the, I'm an air sign and I'm into like all what's out there. But when you're connecting to whatever is greater than us, you are incredibly grounded too, as Heath said, and just that experience of birthing a baby is very much in your body. And just the fact that you're creating this new life, I thought it was so interesting. Brendan, are you centered now?
Yeah, working on it. Always trying to work on being centered. It's interesting, Leona, you bring up the birthing experience, because I think that may be one of the few areas in our life, in women's life, where maybe you go to Lamaze class or something like this, where they teach you to do breathing to help you through a difficult situation. Whereas throughout the rest of our life, the strategy is when you're in a difficult situation is just to tighten up, which is probably the last thing would be helpful, is to tighten up in each of these stressful situations of life. So it's too bad that it's only, during birthing classes that you learn how to breathe through something that may be uncomfortable.
Well, can I interject on that? Because that's such an important extension that you brought up. And you almost, as a doula and childbirth educator, you spend the whole pregnancy kind of working with a woman and her partner in unlearning that
Yes.
instinct to hold the breath, tighten up. But in birth, you don't want to go to that sympathetic nervous system. You want to stay in parasympathetic, because then you're going to get flooded with some pain relieving support. And I can tell you firsthand, going through the labor process, 22 hours unmedicated, my medication was breath. You can't do it without breath. It's not possible.
Yeah.
It is impossible to go through labor and birth without breath. Breath is the through line. It's the absolute through line.
Well, and perhaps we can, each of us, if we're interested, do our own practice, whether it's holotropic or other, some type of breath work. I like to practice first thing in the morning, because I find otherwise the day starts going, and then it's very challenging to find time. And then come evening time, if I sit down and meditate or do breath work, I'm often sleepy and I want to go and just lay down. So first thing in the morning, even if it's just a few minutes, it doesn't necessarily have to be 10 or 15 minutes, but just to sit down for even just a few breaths or a few minutes, that practice has helped me personally. So when I am in my other experiences that are not delivering a baby, because we all have stressors that happens throughout every day, and some are very strong stressors, then maybe we have that as an ally, a breath work to help us through each of those stressors. That's my 2 cents.
That's great.
Great advice.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. If you have a topic you'd like to learn more about, let us know with a comment on social media. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our The Well YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us, and please join us next time for more wellness tips. Remember, regardless of where we are, our resources in The Well are limitless.